it's the one thing that people leave out. It's the doing and the doing and the doing and the doing and the lists and like not taking care of yourself and putting others first, your children, your family members, your business, whatever it is, right? And not giving yourself the time that you need to, maybe it's to go to the gym, maybe it's to have a walk, maybe it's to go meet up with a friend, like whatever it is that helps you thrive personally. I think, we often take those things off the list first and we put them at the bottom, right? And so I think for me anyways, and for a lot of women that I work with, that's one of the things that really shows up at this stage of life is when we're not allowing ourselves the time to recover, the time to rest, the time for self-care. Those are the things that really helps.
Welcome to Limitless, the podcast for cycle breakers, change makers, and conscious leaders who are done performing, proving, and pleasing, and are ready to live, lead, and create from deep alignment. I'm your host, Fiona Walsh. Every 2 weeks, I hold space for real soul-expanding conversations with guests who are still in it. They're navigating their biggest fears, shedding old identities, letting go of patterns that no longer serve them, and rising into their limitless potential. Together, we share what it's really like to be human. Messy, raw, imperfect, and learning to own every part of ourselves, even the ones we've tried to keep neatly tucked away. We go deep into the work of coming home to yourself, getting out of your head, feeling safe in your body, letting go of old stories, and creating a life that's true to who you really are. Subscribing to Limitless is the best way to make sure you never miss an episode. So hit pause and tap follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Because this isn't about doing more. It's actually about remembering who you are. And that's what makes you limitless. Welcome to Limitless. Today, I'm joined by Fátima. She's a midlife transformation coach, an author, and a powerful voice for women ready to rebuild strength, energy, and confidence from a place of self-trust. After decades of competing and working in high-performance fitness, Fátima made a life-altering change. She ended her 20-year relationship, she moved across the world to Portugal, and she became a mum at the age of 43. That season cracked open a deep truth, that sustainable wellness is not built on controlling or proving, but through presence, intuition, and alignment. This conversation today explores the identity shifts that surface when high achievers hit their inner edge, when the old strategies, the perfectionism, the over-efforting, the controlling, all stop working. Midlife becomes a portal, revealing the protective parts shaped by stories like, I'm not enough, not slim enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, and ask us to finally lay them down. These are the exact recalibrations that I work through with my clients through my inner freedom method, where we move from survival to self-trust and from striving to grounded clarity. Fátima also mentions in the episode today about Nourish, which is her program which helps women rebuild their wellness foundation. So if you want to start 2026 with a beautiful foundation, a fresh start, her next program is starting on January the 12th, and all the information is in the show notes. Because what's on the other side of this controlling and over-efforting is a life that feels like yours. One that is rooted in deep body wisdom, guided by your own timing, and it's led by the inside out. Fátima, I am so glad you're here today, and I can't wait to have this conversation with you.
I'm happy to be here too. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Okay, so let's dive in. Can you take us to that turning point or breaking point moment in your life where you thought, oh my God, everything's got to change? Just take us to them and please share your story.
Yeah, it was probably maybe I'm not sure exact timing, but around 9 years ago, I was ending a 20-year relationship. So it was a major change for me. And I really like got into this place where I just wasn't feeling aligned with where I was in my life. And I really had to make this big decision to change that. And, moving out of a 20-year relationship is a big deal. It's not a small decision.
No way.
And I really had to listen to my heart. And in that moment in life, it came down to my intuition and a knowing inside of me that had to make that next decision. Even though I had no idea what was in front of me, but I had to trust. Yeah. And I think the more that I was able to trust this knowing inside of me, the easier it was to take the next steps forward.
Yeah.
And so that big decision led me to a second major decision, which was changing my entire life, even at another level, which was moving to another country. So I chose to move to Portugal. And I do feel like I was divinely guided because at the time, I did not speak the language. So the connection that I had was that both my parents came from Portugal originally. Yep. But I was born and raised in Canada and not very Portuguese. As a child, yes, but probably from my teens on, no. So this is in my early 40s when I made the choice to move to Portugal. And I knew that I was divinely guided and I was following my intuition because I was so at ease in the country and it felt like somewhere that I had been before. And I went without any questions asked and I never looked back. Like I just felt excited and curious and I was just meant to be there. I can't explain it. I still to this day could not explain exactly like how I did it, but I just had a knowing and I followed it. And I can say that within, I don't know if it was 4 months of being there, I met my now partner who we both decided that we wanted to have a family. And that was the first time in my life that I wanted to have a child. So that was new. But again, I feel like I was led to that moment to be in all those places. So at the age of 43, I had my daughter, which was a really incredible miracle. And so I think, that was probably my biggest, maybe 2 jumping points, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. Yeah. Because we go back to where you started, which was so early 40s. So you're in this, you're at that absolute midlife turning point where a lot of people here have either been or they're in it right now.
Yes.
And so what's really interesting for me is leaving a 20-year relationship is a huge deal. Because you have everything would have been enmeshed, finances, life, family, everything. And so
absolutely.
Tell me about what led to you making the decision that it was done. Was it things over time or tell me about that? Because that's fascinating.
I think initially it was a bit of an inner knowing that our time together was ending.
Completing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at first there was definitely a fighting of that inner knowing. There was a lot of conflict internally about it. And then there was, the coming together and trying to figure out what was happening. And then there was the acceptance that this time was ending. And it was not a big dramatic event. It was an acceptance and a moving on and letting go of, and, with love and just it's time. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, it was really intense for sure in the moment. It was a very hard thing to go through and it was, sad and, but it was again, it came back to internally just having this knowing that this was ending and it was time to move on and really not knowing what was next and what was coming forward either.
Yeah, it's really, relevant right now because this year being a 9 year, there's been a lot of people completing cycles depending on the world that you like live in, but like in astrology and numerology and like there's a lot of cycles completing, karmic cycles completing now. And just 2026 is supposed to be this like visionary year, we hope. And that really ran me through around here because people about, I know this year's been hard on a lot of people and the last month in particular has been very hard on a lot of people. But it sounds like as much as it would have been a swirl and very heavy emotions and a lot of letting go because, you know, as I said, enmeshment in all elements of your life.
Yes.
It also sounds like looking back, it was also a pretty clear completion of a cycle of your life and a phase of your life, like a chapter closing.
Yes.
Which sounds really beautiful. And so when you got to that point, did you have any idea of like what you wanted life to look like? Did you think it was going to be outside of Canada or like how did that sort of unravel?
Yeah, like initially, no, but as I was going through the process of the change, I went to Portugal initially just to take some time to clear my head and just kind of figure out, you know, what I was doing exactly because I was feeling confused and not really understanding what was happening internally. And so like the first time I went on my own, the moment I landed, I felt this very light energy. And I don't know, I felt like I've been here before. I know this place. I did not speak the language. What I did know of the language was very little. And I just felt this, like I've been here before. I don't know how I still like to this day have looked back at it and went, it's so strange. It's a completely different country from Canada, from Vancouver, from where I was from, where I'd been my entire life. I didn't have any friends or family. Like I have a distant family, but not people that I was close to. And I was there by myself. And so leaving somewhere where you have everything and everyone and coming into something where you have nothing and no one, it's very different. And you're very in your own self without distractions. So, I don't know, there was a sense of ease that I had and clarity. And so when I did go back to Vancouver and decisions were being made, as the relationship was ending, I started to think like, where do I go next? Where am I going to live? You know, this is all like new things now. And what am I going to do? So I'm going to continue with my business, which I was working online primarily. So it was very easy to go back to Portugal because I was working online. Yeah. And that wouldn't change. Like my business would remain the same. I would just be on a different time zone than most of the people that I work with. And so the second time I went was to really feel it out. Because I started to get this idea that I think I might go and live in another country. I don't have any attachments. I don't have any children. I can go anywhere and be anywhere right now. So it felt natural. And so I went to test it out for 3 months on the second visit alone. And that's when I knew. Yeah. I knew that I was coming back and the decision was made. So yeah. That was
when you're at that time, like what you're describing now is it felt very like you just saw all the potential and like it's sort of like what I call limitless in this podcast. And that we know we've got all this baggage and all this stuff coming forward with us and all the lessons of life and the 20-year relationship that didn't work out, or maybe it was meant to be, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like maybe that's right. But we take all of that with us, but we are like looking forward to like, oh my God, there's so much out there. And I can feel that in you when you talk about that. Yeah. But I wonder, was there also a bit of like, holy fuck, this is really scary? Like I've lived most of my life in Canada, or were you just all for like, let's go do it?
That there was, I cannot say that there was a moment where I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I really didn't think that I was going to, like initially I didn't know. I was just like, I'm just going to go like this, that I'm open to doing anything and being anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
I'm flexible to do that. So let's see.
Mm.
But in the back of my mind, there wasn't a feeling that I might come back. I didn't think that at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't holding on to trying to keep anything in case.
Mm.
Like there wasn't that feeling of having a backup plan.
Yeah. I love it. And so did you go back and forth a couple of times before you made the ultimate move?
It really was like the first trip was just, I think 2 weeks, and it was more of a vacation and just
reset.
kind of, reset. And the second was truly seeing, I think I want to live here. Will I live here? Let's find out. I'm going to live here for 3 months, see what that feels like, and then say yes or no. And at the end of the 3 months, I didn't want to go back. So I was like, well, that's interesting. And again, it was like, you can go anywhere right now. So this is the time. Like you're literally changing your entire universe.
Yeah.
Being in a relationship with somebody and having all those connections together and all the things that come together when two people come together. And it just was like anything can happen. So why not? And I didn't see myself staying in Vancouver at that point in time.
Yeah.
Because my whole life was changing. Almost everything.
I mean, you were totally stepping into a new identity and everything.
And I did, like, I really did. I mean, I knew once I came to Portugal that I suddenly, for the first time, realized I wanted a family, and I never wanted that before. So that was an interesting,
fascinating. So your
shift. I never wanted children. I never tried, never wanted, like never. And
so you've been telling yourself that story.
I did. And that's, I know now, I feel like part of it was my own trauma for my own upbringing.
Yeah.
When my parents split up, I was 13 years old, and I was very disconnected from my mother basically after that. And so for me, I knew I will never have kids unless I really 100% know that that's something that I want.
Yeah.
And it was something that I was always like, I don't know. And because of my own, not having the tight relationship with my mom anymore after 13, not necessarily because of my choosing.
Yes.
I had that within me that I would never want to have a child and not 100% want to be part of their life. So that was, now looking back, I realized that was a big thing for me that was holding me from ever wanting that decision in my life.
Yeah. Well, and it's very, like when we've had trauma and it's lodged in our subconscious, it's not something we're necessarily aware of, but the self-protection that takes place is fierce and dominant, even though you're not aware of it. Yeah. So something switched when you were there, and then it must have been so insane.
It was
to be
coming
like,
back to myself as my, like on my own, right? So you're not in a relationship anymore. And you're in your own world, really alone. And it was like, wow, this is the first time I'm alone in 20 years by myself. And what do I want? It was re-looking at all things life, right? And realizing, wait a second, I do want a family. And I remember saying to myself, like, oh, nice timing. You're like over 40. Good luck. And I mean, there's so many things that could work against you to making that happen. Right. And so really, like, you're not in a relationship. You've never tried to have kids. You might not be able to have kids. There were so many, like, who knows, right?
Yeah, babies. Yeah.
But there was also this moment in time, I remember very shortly after coming to Portugal, after having that realization, I did have a visual of a girl. I had dreams about a girl. I had a vision of a girl. I didn't really know what that meant at the moment, but I had this feeling about her before she existed and before I was even in a relationship. So it was, now looking back, I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
Right. I didn't sit in it very much, but I saw it and had those dreams, but I didn't think of them like strongly until things were actually happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So amazing. And tell me about like, what was it like settling down in Portugal? Because I think it's like I've moved to multiple times in my life so far.
Yeah.
And I've always moved to English speaking countries though. So you went next level.
Yeah.
But I do know just like it's so exciting moving. But when you get there, the live stuff catches up and it's not like it's hard to get a bank account. And it's like some of the logistic stuff really starts to wear down the excitement and the shine of the new country. So talking about, well, how did that play out and what sort of came up for you? Particularly, I'm sure the language barrier must have been one of the things that was tricky too.
I think like initially because I started in Lisbon, it's very English speaking there.
Cool.
So I was taking lessons to learn Portuguese, but then I would speak Portuguese and people would speak English. And then I was like, oh, well, that's so much easier. I'm going to just speak English with them. And so I never practiced a lot because people would be like, oh, you speak English. I can speak English. And you know,
it's easier. Yeah.
So I did not speak a lot of Portuguese. And really until I met my now partner and the father of my child. And then we moved to a small town. And that's when it's like, now you need to figure this out because not a lot of people are going to speak English. And if they do, they're too shy usually too.
Yeah.
And so you need to practice. And, you know, going through even like being pregnant and then going to doctor's appointments and really having to, that's when it's like, now you really need to jump in. And so there's been moments for sure where you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But then there's also really beautiful moments where you can see like the differences in the culture and why there's so many like beautiful things about how things are here versus in Canada. Yeah. And there's things you miss too, right? There's definitely, I think there's a feeling of both. There's a feeling of both, you know, like I miss my people. I miss, being able to communicate in my language as deeply as I can in English, where in Portuguese, I can communicate, but I will stay more surface.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to express yourself in English than in Portuguese for me. So I can't express myself the way that I would in English. So that is something that's harder, even to this day. It's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still is.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your journey as becoming a mum? How has that been? Because I love, I know one other person who like was not having kids with her partner and then in like late 30s, early 40s, like actually we're going to do it. Everyone was like, what?
Everybody was what for
like.
me. Yeah. People were like, that must have been an accident, but it was the most intentional thing that I've ever done. Like,
I love it.
It was so intentional. And, I was pregnant within a month. So just to wrap up how that went down. Yeah. So it was very intentional. And, I think like being a mom, it's nothing that I ever imagined. And I can't imagine that I didn't choose this path. Now I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe there was a time when I said, oh, I'm never having kids. No way. Never. It's not for me. I can't imagine. Like she's changed my life completely. She has taken me to a place within myself that I never would have gone had it not been for her. I mean, the amount of work I've done on myself and, you know, the deeper healing work and just the ways that I've looked at myself much differently than before. Like she cracked me open, so to speak. Like I can't, I don't even know I can't imagine being the person I was before anymore.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I say that my kids have transformed me more than any study, any job. Yeah. Relationships are also fairly transformative as well. And running your own business is certainly up there as well because it's very much you. But my kids have certainly been my biggest teachers. I think also my biggest mirrors or activators. So interested to hear like your daughter is the same age as my twins. So, and they're girls as well. So, what's coming through like right now in your relationship with her? What's she doing that's like activating like little Fatima or something from your child?
Like she's so honest, right? Like, oh my God. Okay. So recently, so I'm an older mom, typically, I think. I don't ask people their ages, but my guess is because I did this so late. And so I think recently she had something happen at school where, I don't know, she tells everyone how old I am. Because I'm open. I'm not like, oh my gosh, don't tell people my age.
Yeah.
So I'm 51 and she, said my age. And I guess some kids were telling her that I was old. And that I'm going to die before their parents because I'm old.
Oh gosh.
So based on like my age versus their parents, which are probably, I'm going to say late 30s, maybe early 40s. So I'm definitely older than probably most of the kids' parents in her class. So this topic came up and she was really upset. And she came home to me and said, Mom, why are you so old? And I was like, God, that hurts.
Cuts deep.
Like kids are brutal.
They so are.
And I said, you realize like people don't necessarily die first because they're older. Like, we all have our timing. It's just, but I'm taking really good care of myself. And
oh my God. And
I was like, ow.
Yeah, that stuff cuts deep. And sometimes the stuff that comes home from school, you're just like, oh my God, what do they talk about at recess? Like, honestly. And I'm sure we had the same conversations when we were kids, but it just like blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And is your little girl quite intuitive like you are?
I think she's very sensitive.
Yeah,
she's very sensitive. So I'm going to say yes. I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful gift that you share with her. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sensitivity is like, it's such a superpower, but it's also, it's challenging to parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've got 3 sensitive. Well, two out of 3 are more sensitive than the other, but yeah, they're all got high levels of sensitivity. So yeah, that's awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and talk about like the work you do, and lots of the people listening are in their midlife, like most of the listeners are. Some are at the start of midlife. I would say if midlife goes from like 40-ish to whatever you finish. So lots of that sort of people listening. And this is really your area of focus now in your business. So I'd love to hear first about just briefly about where you've evolved from, because I know you really had this original focus around performance and proving and achievement. And so many people listening are high achievers and were in that patterning. And it's fun in your 20s and 30s, but then
until it's not.
Then when midlife kicks in and things shift. And I love that you have pivoted what you do in your work as you've gone through life changes. So I'd love just for you to share a little bit about your story of like where you've come from in your work and where you are now. Yeah,
I think like every part of what I've offered has come from here.
Lived experience.
Like I've been in it myself and then I go and teach it after. It's been really like that. So it's evolved with me as I've evolved. So, the beginning stages of my business was like competition prep, the whole fitness model thing. And it was all about like very high level achievement, like really pushing yourself to the max, doing all the things, perfectionism, totally. And proving, a lot of it started for me was like proving to myself, like even initially with the stage, it was like, oh, can I do that? And if I can do this, then that means I'm good enough, right?
Yes, the worthiness
piece. I think, the good enough part of me definitely showed up really strongly in the younger years, like trying to prove that, I can win or prove that I can do this thing. There was even in the early years of competing with just even stage presence. But that was like a big thing for me to learn how to present myself on stage. Was a big deal because I was actually quite shy. So to put yourself out on a stage and you're asking for people to critique you.
Yeah.
You are literally asking to be critiqued. So, I mean, that's a lot for someone who doesn't really want to hear critical.
Totally.
That's hard. And so, I mean, really, so that stage of life was a lot of perfectionism type of focus for sure. But also it was a big growth period for me to prove like how far can I go? How high level how high can I go? And I achieved like 2 pro cards in 2 different federations, which is a big deal and not that easy to do. So that felt really incredible. And then I got, oh my God, I had, I was obsessed with at the time was Oxygen magazine. And it was like a dream of mine to get in this magazine, and not something that I thought would realistically happen. But I was like totally obsessed with reading the magazine and the women that were in it and all the things. And I really looked up to them. And somewhere along the line, I had this amazing achievement of getting like a huge spread in there more than once. So that was like a dream. And I feel like that was definitely something that was, not totally in your control, but an amazing accomplishment that I'll never forget. It was such a high moment for me in that period of life. And then I started to help other women kind of do the same. So
at the prep
they wanted to, do competitions, get pro status. So we did a lot of that. And then they wanted to get in magazines. And so I was doing the same thing with them as well. So it was like, I did this. Now I'm going to help you do this. And then I started to retreat from doing that for myself because I started taking on more people doing those things. And I really just didn't want anything more of that for myself. So I started working with other people to do the same. So it was really fun. It was a fun time. And then I came to the point of when I moved and going through my next life transition of having a child.
Yeah.
And then, life changes. You have a child and you have a different focus and you don't have the same amount of time that you used to have for like training and all the things. And then it was like trying to figure out another way to balance. How do you take care of your body and feel good and feel strong and energy and all the things? So it was me finding the balance of we're not going to be training and doing the nutrition the way we did when we were competing and at that level. And so I needed to find a balance and something that felt good for me and was not so intensive, but still gave me the results that I was looking for. And so that's when I developed what I'm calling Nourish now, which is more about building foundational habits in order to have a sustainable body over time. So you're not trying to like do something in 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is. It's like building something that you can keep. So that was really what it was for me was, taking down all that intensity, but still like basically doing more in less time, making it fit your busy life and still feeling really strong and good and all the things. And then
can I ask you a question about so there's a really clear shift here that I'm hearing in terms of the pro work. And I've never done that, but I've worked when I was in corporate, I worked alongside people who were in this world. And the prep was, the word you said is intensity. I like so intense, but like almost obsessive, like needed to be, because if you've you're competing and then it's all the training as well as the food and everything. And it's similar to like people who do Ironman and like big, events like that where you need to throw a lot of your time needs to go into the event prep.
Absolutely.
But what I was hearing was around like, it's very masculine energy. It's like very outcome orientated.
Yes.
There's force. There's some, I know there's punishment it's like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of control and gripping.
Control.
And then what you've moved into, Nourish, sounds more like feminine. You said balance. It feels more flowy to me. It like works within the confines of your current life. Do you know what I mean? Have you seen that sort of switch between the two for you?
Absolutely. And I would say definitely more of a feminine feeling in that sense. More like understanding how your body works and listening to your body and working with your body and not pushing yourself like hard to the extremes where, you know, they're in the competition side of things. For a lot of women, there's a lot of rebounding and very intense, just the ways that women look at their bodies, and it's intense. It's intense. And it can also be very negative. Very negative. For me, it wasn't so much that way, but I saw people that did go through things like that. And one of the things that I did learn in that period of time as well was that the women who did not have a proper foundation of nutrition and training had the worst rebound after they would compete. It was something I didn't understand initially because I had a pretty balanced lifestyle when it came to training and nutrition before going into that. So I didn't see that initially until I saw others going through it. And I kept going, why does this person go in this direction after she does a show where this one does not? Why can this person stay kind of, yes, you have to be a little more extreme before a show. Like for me, there was more intensity for sure. Like 6 weeks out, yes, I have to do something differently because I'm showing up significantly leaner than my everyday body. But that's not a body that I'm going to walk around with after a show. It's for this one moment in time. But I was able to go back and forth between the two without like a crazy extreme response where some people could not. And that was the one thing that I was trying to figure out as women were going through that and seeing some of them rebounding and going, why does this person struggle so much? And what I realized later on in that cycle was the people who did not have the foundation initially were the ones who were having these issues. And so that's also where Nourish comes in, because it's like you actually need to build foundations to have a sustainable physique. Like if you want it to be lean and strong, you need to build the foundations to get there, to do intensive things, to try to do something in 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever weeks you want to call it, like the typical 12-week program or whatever it's called, usually means that you're not going to be able to hang on to whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're trying to go from here to here, if there's like a big jump in your initial body, and if there's significant amount of changes in from where you're starting and where you're trying to go, it's going to take time. And you need to figure out how to go from here to here in a much different kind of pace and build habits over time, slowly, so that it doesn't feel like, oh, I had to do all these things in 12 weeks and there's no way I can keep up with this. Like this is too much, right? Yeah. So that's where Nourish came in. It was like trying to find that way to, let's see how we can actually build these habits slowly. Figure out how to like incorporate them into real life, not just a moment in time, that you can actually hang on to them and keep that nice balance and get there. And yes, it's slower, but
it's sustainable. It's sustainable.
So that was kind of the whole idea around
I love it. Okay, I want to go into the foundation, but I have one question to ask before we go into that, because the foundation I think is like super critical. And I think we're all like in the swirl of biohacking and all the things, but the foundation is actually where if everyone hasn't got the foundation in place, like don't worry about the biohacking stuff.
Don't even, and that's the other thing is people overcomplicating. Okay, but I do want to go back to one thing about the women that you coached who, because when you put yourself on stage and have your body critiqued, my intuition was like screaming at me that some people would be able to deal with that better than others. And where it was going was this, like the inner child of any of the women who were told
as a child they were this or they were that, or their body was described to them in a way that was critical, which I know is a lot of girls, and their mums did not mean it, but it was, or even the school said stuff.
Yeah.
That those people would have had potentially, I'm just curious, like a bigger reaction to the critiquing and maybe were harsher on themselves. And then this rebounding thing you're talking about may have been in a different way because it wasn't about their performance. It was about them not being enough when they were little, and that sort of playing out on stage in real time.
Yes. So there were scenarios where these women would work so hard. They would really change their physiques in the most incredible ways. And they felt so amazing. And they would go to the stage and, you know, we would have these talks before, because what's happening when you go on stage, it's an opinion.
Yeah.
It's not, I won the race. I ran the fastest. And it's obvious because I crossed the finish line. It's like there's, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever it is, people sitting here judging you.
Yes.
They all have a different perspective of what
biases.
And it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have had the best physique there, or maybe you had the best stage presence, or maybe you had both.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, one of the things that we had talked about quite a bit, because what I saw was, you know, people, they want to win or they want to get, usually the first show, most women wouldn't be like expecting to have a first place. Sometimes, yes. But often it was like just going to do it really was like a big deal, to get on there and do it, follow through, get to the end, make it to the stage. Because a lot of women would quit. They wouldn't make it, right? They weren't ready. And so it was like, okay, you're not ready. This is not going to be the time for you. You need to prepare better for the next one. And so, you know, that could be a big deal for some people just to get there. But there were, usually it'd be like the second round or the third round of going on stage when there's an expectation or a need or want of having a placing, winning a trophy, having a placing really. And so, and then once someone would hit a placing, then they're trying to increase that placing or get a pro card. So that would be like the next level, right? So now they're in it. And the next thing, you want to get the next placing, right? And so, yeah, there was definitely, like, now looking back, I wasn't as deep into the knowing of what I know now when it comes to like healing work and doing, you know, our inner child work and things like that. Like, I didn't have that information back then. So it was, and that's actually when, I got into like the whole mental training part of it. So there was that level of mental training that we did get into. And that's when I got involved in co-writing, the Athlete's Mindset Workbook with Terry Orlick, who's like an incredible mentor who I used to read his books to get myself on stage mentally. And so there was this crazy full circle moment where one of my clients was like, what if I reach out to him? And I was like, I mean, this guy is like world renowned, right? So anyways, and then we ended up co-writing a book with him, which was the most incredible thing. So that was kind of the first time that I really like deeply got into the whole mental training. So that was like one deeper level of getting into like beyond the surface things that we do. You know, like doing the training, doing the nutrition. It was like, okay, we're going to go a little further here. So in that part of my life, we got into the mental aspect.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting piece to add to help the women try to find something a little deeper then. But we, at that time, I was not into, you know, identity work and things like that. Like I didn't have that knowledge back then. It was a little more surface for sure.
Yeah, it's just fascinating because I know like I have a part that's quite controlling that could be around like food and things like that. And so, and like maybe when I was younger, it was more like at one stage I didn't eat meat for a period of time. So I was controlling that way or being restrictive in how much I actually ate. Yeah. And so now at this stage of my life, I eat like really healthily and I eat everything I want, but I know when I try and restrict.
Yes.
Other than like if I'm intentionally doing a fast or something, which I don't do very often, that's different. But it's like, I know that I've got this part that comes online that is overly controlling and it's not a healthy level of control.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's like stick into a plan to stay healthy, or there's like in your head, no, you can't eat that. And it's like that I don't. So because I'm aware of that part, it's interesting. And I can see how something like fitness, like modeling, if you've got a part like that that's been online since you're a child, which I know because I coach people in this, a lot of people, women do.
Yes.
That part would be running your performance and your preparation, and you don't want those parts running your performance and preparation because they're not safe, right?
And they're going to show up.
Oh,
and that was something that also at that time, I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't have that knowledge back then to really understand, because it wasn't something that I had an issue with. And so for me, I didn't know until I saw it
wasn't on your radar.
I didn't know until I saw it happening. And I was like, what's going on with this person?
What's going on there?
Why are they having this thing? And then it was like, okay, we need mental training, right? And so it was like, oh, we got to like get into that and like get out of your head, you know, get into the right mindset. And so, you know, that was a huge part of changing the way people perform for sure. But it was not at this next level, which I've now come to today. Like that's a whole nother piece now. Yeah.
Where the magic is.
Yeah. Where the magic is. Exactly.
It is where the magic is. It's where you really unlock yourself to feel limitless and to not restrict, like the absolute flipping the coin. So when you're talking about foundation based on your model for people listening, and it's women and men, but what are the pillars, or what's the foundation? What are the elements of your foundation for people to like focus on?
Yeah. I mean, it's like breaking down the nutrition pieces for sure.
Yep.
So, you know, understanding the protein, fiber, carbs, healthy fats, sleep, stress.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Exercise.
Those are like really like the main parts of like the nutrition aspect.
Yeah.
And then also understanding like how to train and not overtraining and rest, recovery. Those are like the main pieces. And then as we just kind of mentioned, there is that deeper dive aspect that I've gotten more involved in probably in the last, I don't know, at least 5 years now. Yeah. Getting deeper into other things that are getting in the way of moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many of them are interrelated in terms of like, the foundation can be all there, but how you self-protect or self-sabotage is the work to be done, which is the lower level, like the subconscious sort of stuff. Because I know like with a lot of people I coach, and this is definitely very relatable for me, of like, I get enough sleep at night, but I'm like, my to-do list is always so big and I always have great grand plans for more.
Yeah, of course.
I can be in the swirl of like, there's no time to rest.
Yes.
Which I'm getting this year has been a huge personal transformation to me. Like if I need to rest now, like I actually rest.
And that's huge.
And I don't just push through and like jack myself up on coffee, which is what I used to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that shows up in perimenopause. It will smack you in the face if you don't listen.
Oh, really?
If you don't allow your body to recover and rest at this stage, your body is going to make you pay for it. You can't get away with it. Like when we're younger, we can get away with a lot more, less sleep, less self-care.
Alcohol.
At this stage of life, it is like no, and no. If you want to ignore it, but you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer more by not actually taking better care of yourself. And that's one of the things, especially with high achieving women, which I think you're familiar. And so am I. It's the one thing that people leave out. it's the doing and the doing and the doing and the doing and the lists and like not taking care of yourself and putting others first, your children, your family members, your business, whatever it is, right? And not giving yourself the time that you need to, maybe it's to go to the gym, maybe it's to have a walk, maybe it's to go meet up with a friend, like whatever it is that helps you thrive personally. I think, we often take those things off the list first and we put them at the bottom, right? And so I think for me anyways, and for a lot of women that I work with, that's one of the things that really shows up at this stage of life is when we're not allowing ourselves the time to recover, the time to rest, the time for self-care. Those are the things that really helps, Yeah. And so I think, you can't get away with it anymore.
Yeah. One of the other things I'll add to that list is because my newsletter that went out yesterday for the month of November was around prioritizing fun.
Fun. Yes.
Like scheduling fun because and then the other three I suggested on top of fun one was rest.
Yeah.
One was white space. So actually phone away 30 minutes, no plan.
Yeah.
Just be with yourself, listen to yourself. You can go for a walk or something. You don't need to sit on the floor and, if that's not your jam. Some people, that's their jam. And then the other one was like moving your body with intention, but to like connect and feel good in your body, not with an outcome of like, I'm training for half marathons. I've got to go run. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've been doing like aerial silks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So tell us about that because isn't that
hard?
Crazy amounts of strength.
My version of fun. Go kill yourself on the aerial silk.
Has it taken? So this is one thing I'd love to hear about. Building up to where you were, and I'll try and share a video of you when this episode goes live because you've shown on your Instagram recently of where you've got up to. I sometimes think a lot of people looking on to these kinds of things or one of my clients is doing an Ironman in a week and a half. Like, when I get to coach these people and you get in their inner world, you begin to realize how much work goes into and how much showing up and discipline goes into getting to a certain point in time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people underestimate how much that is. So I'd love to hear just your story on the aerial. Like how much work has it been because you're already incredibly fit and strong and healthy, but to learn this new skill to be like, bend it upside down and all the things.
So it's a skill in a lot of ways for me because, so first of all, it's a coordination thing. I don't have the coordination. I don't have the, what is it called? The, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the steps, when you're, if someone teaches you a dance, for example,
you can follow.
I don't have that skill to watch someone like show me, I don't know, 10 different moves and be like, do this, do the coordination to put all of the choreography together. So for me, as soon as you start moving like one thing, like you move your hands and then you do something with your legs, I'm like, what's happening there? That's what my brain is doing because I didn't take any classes like that as a child. I never had that skill.
Yeah.
So I have this skill of going to the gym and lifting weights and I'm strong. But when it comes to choreography, I'm like, what just happened? I need to break that down slow. I need to do it like 10 times with just one thing. And then I can add the next thing. So for me, it's super challenging because I have the strength to hold myself and pull myself up. But it's like, what did the teacher just show me?
Yeah.
So I need to sit there and look at it. And then I need to go and break it down. So for me, it's like the breaking down and putting it together. And then once I finally like get one of the things, it's such an incredible feeling. Like, yes, I got it. I mean, I often will share I haven't done that many things, but I only go to a class once a week. And that's also been a huge commitment because it's late at night.
Yeah.
It is not at my ideal time. I'm tired at the time when I need to, it starts at 8:30 at night.
Oh
when
God,
I
that's late.
hour. Like, I am like winding down at that point. it takes me almost half an hour to get to where the class is. It's about an hour and a half long. So by the time I leave there, it's 10 o'clock at night. It is a weeknight. I need to come home, wind my brain down after that. So it's another half an hour to drive home, wind my brain down. And then the next morning it's work. It's getting your child ready for school, all the things. So, it's been a commitment on many levels, but the what I get from it's, some community for me to be around other people doing something that has nothing to do with what I do in my workplace or with my child. It just is something for me. And so for me, I don't know if I answered that very well, but
no, I love it. No, it did, because particularly the choreography piece, because I think, particularly if you learned something as a child, and it could be dance, but it could be skiing or swimming, or you did learn all those skills broken down step by step, but you always get to the stage where your muscle memory and your body knows what to do. And so as an adult watching, I didn't do dance either, but if you go to like a dance class, you can pick the kids, the women or men who did dance as a child versus those of us who are like flopping around. And it's very clear, because the programming.
It wasn't me. That's clear.
Well, the programming.
My daughter luckily has those skills.
Oh, that's good. But the programming took place, right? And you don't forget that. You can access it later on. Whereas I think when people start something new as an adult, and some people pick it up faster, or some people aren't maybe not honest and like, oh, I did a little bit as a kid. Well, no, they did 2 years of it. So they actually have memory. So I think if you're like a raw beginner, to be like level set with yourself, is that you are going to need to learn the little bits at a time, and it's going to take a lot of persistence and consistency and showing up against all odds, which sounds like you are, because it's like not your time of day. It's like big commitment, right?
And it hurts your body.
Oh yeah, it's not comfortable while you're there.
It leaves marks on your body. Like I literally
I love it.
Trashing myself to do the thing, but it feels so good. Like when you actually like figure out one of the, things, it's like, and you can see when I do learn one, I'm so happy after. Like, yes. And even my teacher is like, yes, good job.
I love it. I love it. But it does show like your mental discipline and commitment, which you would have had to have done in your competition days.
It
shows that you're like a master of that, in terms of you're transferring those skills now to something else. Because most people on things like pole dancing and aerials and that don't, even TRX, like people don't stick with it because it's really challenging and hard to begin, and it takes a long time to see like good results or progress.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not a quick win kind of, they're not quick win kind of sports. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. I have one question I'll ask you before we go into the rapid fire.
Oh boy.
Okay. So transformation often happens in small intentional steps, like many of which we've talked about today.
Yeah.
And it's within these micro moments that we start to access deeper levels of ourself, our identity, and also unlock that long-lasting, sustainable change, which we also mentioned. So based on your personal journey, what's one step that our listeners could take to unlock their limitless potential?
I would say like to just pick one small step. Is people tend to try and do everything at once.
Yeah.
And it's like, figure out the thing that you're trying to do and break it down into like the smallest steps that feel achievable, right? Because if you can just do this one thing, and it might be, the showing up, right? Go to the class, make the appointment and show up, right? And then once you show up once, then you can add like the next piece kind of thing. So I think like breaking things down and making it much more achievable in smaller parts, then you can start to build the momentum to going to whatever. If it's a really big thing, you can get there, but you need to make smaller steps for sure.
I really love that. And I think if someone's like sitting here going, oh, I really want to like do a half marathon in 2026, like
what?
That if you're not a runner,
Yeah.
is a huge goal. It's totally doable, but it could, when the excitement of like, oh, I could do it wears off, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
To actually put it together. My biggest hack for people on this in life and in my coaching containers is just put your goal into ChatGPT and ask it to break it down into bite-sized steps. And it is like, and off you go.
And then you need a support system.
Yeah.
That's part 2.
Accountability,
the thing I think that gets in the way for a lot of people is they have the knowledge, especially now, like, go in ChatGPT. How do I do it? Yeah. And it'll tell you. But if you don't have a good support system, that's the part where people can fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's accountability buddies are good for that. Yeah.
It's huge. Because we all have tons of knowledge. So why aren't we doing all the things?
Yeah.
What's stopping us?
Us. We're the only, we are our biggest limiter. We're also our biggest like potential as well. So it's like, do you choose limit or do you choose limitless? Like it's your choice every step of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the most liberating thing you've done in your whole life or even recently if you can't think long term? Something felt really liberating.
Man, I feel like moving to Portugal.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to beat that.
I don't think so either.
I mean, having a child is pretty incredible too. But I mean, that first, I would say.
Yeah, I do love your story because we've spoken a lot. The majority of this about is after 40. Yeah. And you're only 51. So it's like insane how much change can take place in a short amount of time, like in a decade. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
What's a part of yourself that you used to hide, but now you lead with?
Oh, that I used to hide that now I lead with. Man, I don't know.
Would it be your like intuition?
Oh, you know what? That's actually, but I don't know if I used to hide it or if I wasn't in tune with it.
Yeah, or trusting it.
I think like for me, that whole beginning part of our conversation, like ending a 20-year relationship, that was the first time I really heard my intuition.
Yeah.
And really started to listen to it. So maybe, I don't know if I hid it or if I just wasn't aware of it. Although it was there after I thought back, there were many moments in life where that intuition showed up for me, where I made other decisions that were actually kind of mind-boggling when I think about it now. Like, wow, I did that. But I had a knowing in me.
Yeah.
I made a choice and I changed something very major in my life, like multiple times.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about when we were talking about the leap, I was like, what would be and I was like, wow, I've actually had a lot of those. And I think that those were intuitive hits that I didn't know, but I was listening to them and did follow them.
Yeah. So maybe if we take away hide, but
required a lot of, there was a push-pull.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what's your superpower?
Oh, bravery.
Beautiful. Is it one of your values?
I think it is.
Yeah. Awesome.
I mean, you need it in order to take those steps. You need it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you hear the word limitless, what are 3 words or feelings that are evoked in you?
Fully expressed. I would say brave too. I would use brave in that one. Nourished.
Yeah, love that. And if you're having a bit of a down day or mood's a bit low, what's your favorite song to put on to lift your vibration?
Ooh. You know what? I love that song Rise Up by Audra Day.
Yep.
I love that song.
It's a beautiful song.
That is a pick-me-up.
Yeah, it's a great choice. It's a great choice. Well, Fátima, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for coming on Limitless. It was your first podcast interview.
Yeah, my first one. I made it.
Well, I'm sure people were like, what, her first? So thank you for being very brave today, which I know you have been, and sharing your beautiful story across life, but also all of your wisdom and all of your heart. I'm just so grateful.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Limitless. If you enjoyed today's episode and love hearing the stories of courageous cycle breakers, I'd be grateful if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your feedback not only helps others discover the show, but it also amplifies our mission to unlock emotional freedom and true potential. Every review makes a difference in helping more people embrace their limitless life.